So Sasha Banks has requested her WWE release. I sit here today and I am not surprised by any of this news whatsoever. In fact, I'm actually surprised it's taken this long. Just looking at what has happened with Sasha Banks over the last 4 years, clearly that woman has the patience of a saint. And I am proud that she finally stood up and said something. And those are the words that came out of her mouth. Now, I want you guys to ask yourself one question right now, right here. Do you blame her? I want you guys at the end of all this, at the end of this cold open, to ask yourself that very same question. If you think she is a self-entitled bitch, your answer is going to be changed by the end of this cold open. No question. If you still think she's an entitled bitch, you're a fucking moron. Sasha Banks posted a couple of cryptic tweets on social media. Twitter, Instagram. She uses Instagram a lot more than she does Twitter. This was noticed by her fans, and everybody started to pay closer attention to her situation when she backed out of an appearance on the Wendy Williams show. She cited personal reasons for canceling the Williams show, and that is all fine and good. It's none of their business why Sasha Banks pulled out. But they were reportedly furious that she canceled on them just mere hours before the show taped. So Wendy Williams' producers were furious at Banks and then reportedly released a statement saying that she won't be booked again. She didn't give a real reason for canceling, and she only did it hours before the show tapes, so production was left scrambling to fill her spot. Wendy Williams ended up doing an extra segment on Hot Topics instead, end quote. Who gives a shit? Wendy Williams and her show is garbage, number one. Number two, Sasha Banks doesn't need Wendy Williams, and the appearance on Wendy Williams would have been forgotten in 24 hours. Nothing more than a revolving door of guests just to fill fucking dead TV air. Simple as that. It's not likely that Sasha Banks will be cool with the Wendy Williams people from this point on. Again, I utter who gives a shit. This could have been dealt with if she wanted to go about it in a better way, give a reason, but it's none of their business why Sasha Banks needed to back out of the appearance. Now, there are rumors circulating that there was a backstage incident at WrestleMania involving Sasha Banks. Ringside News, take these fucking reports from Ringside News with a very, very small pinch of salt. They got themselves into some hot water with Sean Ross Sapp a couple of weeks ago, stealing his news and claiming that it was their own. But that's neither here or there. Ringside News and their people were trying to confirm these rumors, but it was said that this occurred after the WWE Women's Tag Team title match and the Boss and Hug Connections loss. Sasha Banks was said to be very upset after this incident as well. Again, do you blame her? The answer is no. Banks' cryptic tweets actually fall in line with what she said in the afternoon of Monday Night Raw. She posted a picture of herself at Raw after WrestleMania, asking if she would do anything differently if given the chance. It is very interesting how WWE sent Bayley out to the ring all by herself this week without Sasha Banks in a squash match in a loss against Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss then took fire at Banks and Bayley on social media, saying that they wasted their WrestleMania moment. Apparently, Banks and Bliss have had enough of this situation that it caused Sasha Banks, I don't know if Bayley did the same thing, but Sasha Banks certainly blocked Alexa Bliss on Twitter. She didn't stop there. She actually also blocked WWE, she blocked Vince McMahon, and she followed Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks and All Elite Wrestling on social media. Now, I know people are going to pick that apart and just jump all over that as some fucking news story in itself. Listen, if I was a betting man, that's just going to show you and everybody else how frustrated she is. And you're not going to follow Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks and Cody and All Elite Wrestling, who in themselves have a clear-cut direction on what they're doing and where they're going, clear-cut competition to the company that you are employed with right now, you're not going to use them and their social medias to just prove a point to the fucking trolls on social media and prove a point to Vince McMahon and WWE. The heart wants what the heart wants, and she wants out. That's what that says to me. I don't think that's a troll at all. Now, Banks and her situation was mentioned by Dave Meltzer and the Wrestling Observer Live, where Meltzer spoke as if it seems there might be more to this situation. There is no 100% answer at this point, but hopefully she will be able to work out whatever the issue is, says Dave Meltzer. And he says, and I quote, "I mean, nobody has an answer, and I'm sure that we will all have speculation. But since I don't have the answer, I think on this specific case, speculation isn't anyone's benefit. I mean, I've heard from different people, and we've all kind of came to the same conclusion, but we'll have to wait to see how it all works out. She missed the Wendy Williams show. They said it was a family emergency. You know, I don't know what the exact situation is, but hopefully she is okay. And I'm hoping she's okay. And by what she posted on Instagram, she's having the time of her life with her husband, Kalisto, and his wife. And I believe they're in the Bahamas or some tropical island. I don't remember where she went on vacation. None of our business. She's having a good time. There's a smile on her face. That is all that matters. Now, we'll have to wait and see if Sasha Banks is on TV, being that WWE has a big week of television coming up with the Raw and SmackDown Superstar shakeup. If I was a betting man, I say WWE doesn't move Sasha Banks and they punish her by staying on Monday Night Raw, because what a fucking ultimate punishment that is. She wants back in NXT. She wants back on SmackDown Live. Or not back on SmackDown Live. She wants away from Raw. They'll keep her on Raw because they know she's unhappy there. Now, there are more details coming out about Sasha Banks after she pulled out of the Wendy Williams show, and some of her cryptic messages were seen on Twitter and Instagram. One person high up in WWE told Dave Meltzer that Banks tried to quit over WrestleMania weekend. Banks obviously was unhappy with the loss of the women's tag team titles, and Banks felt blindsided when she was told about the loss, that they would be dropping the titles at the last minute. It doesn't look like she's upset with the IIconics because she praised them on Twitter. Gracious enough of Sasha Banks to do. I will not be praising the IIconics here in this cold open. Banks and Beth Phoenix both used the hashtag #IfYouOnlyKnew on Twitter, so that was the first sign that there was something not quite right after their match on Sunday night. Meltzer went on to say via his source that Banks was under the impression that WWE was going to give her and Bayley a strong title run to help the credibility of those women's tag team titles. Those were the two perfect women to do that with. WWE also said that they were going to fix the tag team division. That's why they gave the Revival the tag team titles, because there's no better team in WWE outside the Usos than the Revival. And look at what WWE did to the Revival. Lies and bullshit. With the tag team division still as god-awful as it's been for the last 2 years, if not longer. Now, just a couple of weeks ago, Sasha Banks and Bayley went to NXT and they told fans that they would be fighting champions and they would defend the titles on all three brands. Clearly, that is not the case. Banks was given a few weeks to think things out, as the company believes she made a rash, last-minute, heat-of-the-moment decision. Heat of the moment, you say? WWE employee clown. Heat of the moment, huh? Yeah, we'll talk about that. Meltzer noted that the story has been confirmed by other people, but it will probably be denied very quickly. Oh, you ain't denying anything, motherfucker, after this open. Believe me. Second person chimed in on this. Said that she has been given time off to figure out what she wants to do, whether it's to stay or to go. The second person was not able to confirm the reason why she was upset, but noted that she probably would not have known the finish of the match until late in the weekend. A third person chimed in, told Meltzer that she was clearly unhappy. Banks is currently on vacation in the Dominican Republic. There you go, with her husband, Kalisto, and his wife. That is all we know up to date on this entire situation. That's the news that I'm sure she probably read over the weekend, and I'm sure that you guys have been filled in on over the course of the 2 days. Now you're going to hear from me, and you're going to hear me completely go off the script, because this podcast is my platform to be absolutely upfront and honest with everybody. I will not be, well, I'll be cursing because it's what I do. I mean, I'm from the Bronx. But I will be directing this to everybody, and I will be directing this to Sasha Banks. I will be directing this to WWE in the most professional manner that I could possibly bring forth to you guys. Because I want everybody to understand the nature of the situation. Okay? Now, what you call bitching, what I call, the people on social media, cretins, they don't understand anything. They think that I'm very vocal about what I'm passionate about, and they call it complaining and bitching and moaning and crying. What you call bitching, I call passionate. What you call bitching, I call knowing someone's self-worth. What you call bitching, I call knowing your employer is willing to fix whatever is needing to be fixed. Bitching is absolutely a way in which we have to voice our opinions on everything. It's not bitching. You might think it's bitching, but to me, it's passionate and devoted and in love with what you do, WWE clearly is doing wrong, and they're refusing to fix it. And I fucking hate that. I despise that. They willingly know what's wrong, and they refuse to fix the issue. Sasha Banks, if you really want to look at the entirety of her WWE main roster run, has hung on to one match for 4 years in Brooklyn at TakeOver with Bayley, and wanted nothing more than to deliver that to the WWE and its fans every single time she stepped into a WWE ring. That was the night that changed it all. TakeOver in Brooklyn. That was the night both women were unshamed, unfiltered, and they gave us something that we all knew was special by the time that closing bell rang. They knew the right direction of the women's division on the main roster, and they knew it needed to go in that direction. And in actuality, how many matches in the WWE women's division since that match have come even close to what Sasha Banks and Bayley have done on that night? The answer is none. I can only think of one match, and that is Becky Lynch and Charlotte at WWE Evolution. Everything else that we've been given doesn't even hold a candle to what Sasha Banks and Bayley have done at TakeOver Brooklyn. And no, before people jump down my throat, Charlotte and Asuka at WrestleMania 34 was nowhere near as good as Sasha Banks and Bayley at TakeOver. All Sasha Banks is to WWE is a footnote. That's it. They used that one night and that one match with Bayley as nothing more than a historical fact, as if it happened 40 years ago. It's nothing more than a highlight and video package with no recognition from WWE about how truly important it was to the entirety of the women's division. Let me tell you something. Without that match, without what NXT did for women's wrestling in the WWE, the women's division on the main roster wouldn't even be close to where it is right now. Ronda Rousey wouldn't be in the WWE, and if she was, without NXT and what they did, if Ronda Rousey was in the WWE, her impact would not be as fruitful as it has been right now. And that is a 100% fact. So why neglect one of two women who have provided more than anyone else to what is currently going on right now? What does it really boil down to? Just like everything else in the WWE, it's all a political agenda. It's all who fits the mold. It's who pulls strings harder than the rest. It's honestly who sucks more dick than anyone else. And I mean that more than you can ever know, and I regret nothing about that comment. Sasha Banks' character is not something WWE typically would book to be successful. Coming out of NXT, she was the hottest thing in WWE along with Bayley. Bayley was actually being compared to John Cena. There were people saying that she was the female version of John Cena. How the fuck do you fuck that up? Coming out of NXT, both Sasha and Bayley were the hottest things as WWE pulled them from NXT. They were the hottest thing in NXT. WWE pulled them out. They stepped foot onto the main roster. And everything that Sasha Banks and Bayley made special was washed away and altered to be more marketable, to fall in line with being more sponsor-friendly, more fan-friendly. It legitimately took all that Sasha Banks made great, watered it down, and as a result, WWE slowly passed her by with the rise of Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, who fit more in line with what they wanted as far as a women wrestler. Sasha Banks embodied what we all wanted from women's wrestling, and WWE showed that wrestling, as always, will fall far behind compared to someone's looks. Clearly. I mean, just look at what you're watching on television right now. Charlotte, how many breast enlargements and surgeries has Charlotte had? I hold nothing back here. I don't give a fuck who the fuck is listening to me. I really don't. How many surgeries has Alexa Bliss got? On her nose and on her chest? What about Lacey Evans? Another tall, big-breasted blonde on WWE television. Meanwhile, the likes of Bayley and Sasha and Asuka and everybody that is in that mold is not being pushed. You could even lump Carmella into that because at one point Carmella was blonde as well. WWE has a type. Like you and I and everybody else who finds someone attractive, you have your own type of women that you are attracted to. WWE, they like big-breasted blondes. That's exactly what they like. And I hold nothing back in proclaiming that. All you need to do is open your fucking eyes and watch TV every single week. The argument during the entire thing from many unintelligent people is the fact that they think Sasha Banks is an entitled, spoiled brat who should be happy with her position in the company because anyone would die to be in her position. She gets to travel the world, meet new people, make connections, have a lifetime of memories the normal person may never see. But would anyone die to really be in Sasha Banks' position? Let's take a look at the professional wrestling career of Sasha Banks in WWE on the main roster. Makes her debut on the main roster, placed in a group that didn't make any sense in an attempt to get these NXT women, more notably the 4 Horsewomen, over with more established names. Charlotte won the inaugural Raw Women's Championship, which honestly should come as to no surprise to anybody. But at that point, Sasha Banks was clearly the flag bearer for a division and a movement that was just getting started. So I ask you, why not give the woman a sense of accomplishment in that one moment? I don't understand it. Oh, that's right. WWE has to give Charlotte, their favorite blonde, all the accolades. They got to pad her stats. Charlotte Reigns is what she's called on the internet scene. Charlotte Reigns. Or do you like Roman Flair better? Which one do you like better? Whichever one works for you. Sasha Banks and Charlotte eventually broke away to run the Raw Women's division, trading the title back and forth in a division that had Nia Jax, Alicia Fox, and Dana Brooke. Again, let me repeat. Nia Jax, Alicia Fox, and Dana Brooke. Some competition you got there, Miss Banks. I can't wait to see you recreate a 5-star TakeOver Classic with fucking catering MVP Dana Brooke. Awesome. Sasha Banks is a 4-time women's champion. Not one reign lasted longer than 30 days, with her 4th reign lasting 8 days. And no reign seen her successfully defend the title. Every time she won it, she lost it. Charlotte went on to win 9 women's titles between Raw and SmackDown, and Sasha Banks has not held a singles title since then on Raw. And SmackDown, clearly, they won't send her to SmackDown because they know that going to SmackDown is something that she wants. They will not give Sasha Banks what she wants. Fun fact, by the way, Carmella has held the SmackDown Live Women's title longer in her 1 reign than Sasha Banks has in her 4 reigns. Now, if you don't find that to be a situation in which someone would want to walk out on the WWE, please indulge me with your fucking stupidity. Please. I'd love for you to tell me why somebody shouldn't be upset about that. Sasha Banks had to then sit on the sidelines watching the likes of Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss pass her up, 2 women who can't even spell the word wrestle. Both got major matches with Ronda Rousey, first multiple times to the excitement of no one, over a woman who could wrestle circles around Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax, both blindfolded. It's all about entertainment, JD. That's what they tell me. It's all about entertainment. Alexa Bliss is good on the microphone. Nia Jax is whatever people are calling her. I don't find any positive note on Nia Jax at all. It's all about entertainment, JD. That's why WWE booked these two women over Sasha first against Ronda Rousey. Yeah, so entertaining that I desperately tried to find anything to do but watch Monday Night Raw, and my mute button got one hell of a workout. Awesome. Really fucking great. So, at that point, getting back to where I was, what was Sasha Banks doing through all of 2018? What was she doing through all of 2018? Does anyone remember? Did this little thing just slip your memory? Did it fall into the fucking logic gaps that are very existent in your fucking brains? Your brain has more logic gaps than raw creative. She was in matches every single fucking week with Ruby Riott and the Riott Squad because they had no division. And because Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax were feuding with themselves and over Ronda's Raw Women's title. Every single fucking week. And then there are still people who claim to me that merging the divisions is not the right idea. Really now? Don't you think merging the divisions would give Sasha Banks more of a fucking competitive edge in WWE against the likes of an Asuka or a Becky or a Naomi or anybody else that's not on Monday Night Raw? Don't you think it would be better than her wrestling 52 fucking weeks out of the year against the fucking Riott Squad? That's the best that you have for Sasha Banks. 52 weeks of matches that meant nothing but a fucking payday to Sasha Banks. 52 weeks of matches that meant nothing. Nothing. 52 weeks of matches that she'll look back on and see nothing more than a waste of time. Same goes for Ruby Riott. This video has nothing to do about Ruby Riott, but you might as well lump her into this discussion as well. She has arguably been one of the best females on the roster. How do you think she feels? I don't think she feels good at all. Sasha Banks had an entire year in 2018 that could honestly be thrown in the garbage. And here you have people on social media claiming that she's an entitled bitch. Did you guys also forget Dr. Shelby and both Sasha and Bayley wasting away off television? Kept off television to do some cheap comedy that came across on TV as painfully unfunny. All while Alexa Bliss was mixing it up with Ronda Rousey. And by the way, that Dr. Shelby storyline went unfinished and was ultimately dropped, proving my point of 52 weeks in 2018 being a complete waste of time for Sasha Banks. Do you guys like to wake up, live life, and waste an entire year without growth as an individual? Or in her case, as a performer? Where growth is most important in anybody, no matter what they're doing. Where's the growth in Sasha Banks? Where is it? I'd love for someone to fucking pinpoint the growth in Sasha Banks as a individual and as a WWE wrestler. You're all programmed to think one way. That's what WWE does. They program you to think one way. That's why you have so much stupidity on social media. You are programmed to look at her being complacent and think that she's happy. And instead of being the fucking Kenny Omega of her division, everybody is just with this attitude of being complacent and, oh, you should be happy that she has a job, or in WWE's case, you should be lucky that you're even working here. WWE is telling her without actually saying it, be happy with your fucking job. That in itself is wrong. You're telling someone that is pretty much wanting to grow that this is the best that you will ever be. This is the most that you will ever do. And to me, that is one of the most demoralizing things you could ever do or say to a human being. Preventing someone from showing the world their true talent and growing should be a crime. And WWE right now should be locked away for 30 to life. Oh, but JD, she eventually got Ronda Rousey at the Royal Rumble. Yeah, and you know what? It was one of Ronda Rousey's best matches in her first year in WWE. Sasha Banks proved that she should have been the one before Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax to be in the ring with Ronda Rousey. The match was booked in 4 weeks to simply get Ronda on the Rumble card with a notable name to fill time, and the special feeling that the match should have really had didn't really shine through because WWE put the match together virtually with zero build. Zero build. And you know what? Sasha actually looked great because she looked like she was fired up. We've seen some of that old bitch, Sasha Banks, That's what I want to see. And she brought it. But there was only so much that woman could do to tell a story in 4 weeks. It was as almost if WWE forgot about Sasha Banks and realized, oh, look, we have Sasha Banks. How about we do Sasha versus Ronda? A complete afterthought. There were reports of Sasha and Bayley pestering Vince McMahon for the women's tag team titles to be created. And after a few months of constant asking, he caved and they were made, and to be determined at the Elimination Chamber. Sasha and Bayley won the tag team titles in what was, at the time, a right decision. Not one single title defense outside of Nia Jax and Tamina Snuka at Fastlane, if you even want to call that a title defense. I don't. Matches with teams that couldn't draw the excitement out of a fucking corpse. A WrestleMania match that was booked with zero care or planning. These are your newly created tag team titles, something that Sasha and Bayley wanted so badly to be successful, and WWE has already ruined the entire thought of said titles. They take those titles to Raw, they take them to SmackDown, they take them to NXT, and claim to everyone watching that they want to take these titles all over the WWE and bring prestige to them and defend them against any and all challengers. A match with the Sky Pirates is on everyone's list of things that they want out of the year 2019 in WWE. And what does WWE do? Lost to the IIconics as champions on TV, which I found to be a major fuck you. No champion should be losing on regular TV. And no challengers should be beating champions to gain a title shot. There are other ways to go about getting someone a title shot. Beating your champions is not the most logical of ways. But I don't expect a fucking idiot on social media to understand that. That's why I'm here and you're there hiding behind a faceless fucking Twitter profile. Sasha and Bayley then take those titles into WrestleMania in one of the worst matches of the night, lose the titles to the IIconics, who in my honest opinion, and Sasha may be friends, Bayley may be friends with both Peyton Royce and Billie Kay, but in my honest opinion, they are two of the worst female professional wrestlers in the world who every time they are on TV, again, my mute button gets a beautiful workout. Bayley was also fed to Alexa Bliss on Raw in 3 minutes in a match that you could tell Bayley wanted no part of. You all ask why Sasha Banks wants to leave WWE. I just painted the picture for you here in the open of Off the Script. If I'm Sasha Banks, I would want out too. And again, I ask you, after everything that I just mentioned, do you blame her? The answer is no. Everything I said here goes for Bayley as well. You might be thinking, well, JD, you left out Bayley. Bayley is frustrated. Everything I'm mentioning about Sasha Banks, apply Bayley to it. It's the same thing. I don't know Sasha Banks, but I do know people who know Sasha Banks. And from what I gather, Sasha Banks loves this business so much that she wants to do right by the business of professional wrestling. She wants just good, old-fashioned, creative, professional wrestling that is story-rich and makes sense. She wants logic. Again, she wants common sense. She wants to do away with the political garbage that is WWE. Sasha wants to tell her kids someday of what their mother did when she was at the height of her career. I would. I know if I'm Sasha Banks, I would want to tell my fucking kids what I did at the height of my career. If WWE is telling Sasha the height of her career is one match on one night in Brooklyn with your best friend, then fuck WWE. Sasha knows it. WWE knows it. We all know it. If Sasha Banks left the WWE to go anywhere else, she would be the Ronda Rousey of any women's division. And to be quite honest, people in WWE are saying this is a decision that is being made in the heat of a moment, or the heat of the moment of her wanting to leave. Is 4 fucking years in the heat of the moment? You got that mixed. Moments in her career that she should be a part of are passing her up because of sheer neglect from WWE. Instead of pushing big-breasted blondes, why don't you start focusing on making everyone fucking happy and acknowledge the talent of your performers? Hey, Sasha, I hear the weather in Jacksonville is pretty good this time of year. Sasha is on vacation right now in the Dominican Republic for a couple of weeks. I urge Sasha to go, possibly add Jacksonville to the list of places to go on vacation. And I'm sure Cody will have your itinerary planned out beautifully. I don't blame this woman whatsoever. At all. Entitled bitch? No. Sasha's not an entitled bitch. Sasha's one of the most passionate women, one of the most passionate people you will find in the business of professional wrestling. And if you attribute her bitching to self-entitled, oh, I have to have this, I have to have that, blah, 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 really? You have it all wrong. You have it all wrong. 4 years that this woman's been passed up. 4 years this woman has seen time fly her by. And you're calling her a self-entitled bitch because she knows what she's worth. She knows what she brings to the table, and WWE is not allowing her to do that for a blonde here and a blonde there and a blonde here that can't wrestle. WWE lets this woman go. They, honestly, will be looking at themselves in the mirror and say, man, we fucked up. And that's the only way WWE really appreciates talent. WWE only appreciates talent when they go off and do something else. And at first chance, when they get that talent back, because everybody always comes back, if they go on to succeed somewhere else and they come back home, WWE will punish you tenfold. It will be worse than anything that they were doing to you before. If WWE lets Sasha go and Sasha Banks goes to any other promotion in this world, she is going to be number one in everyone's eyes as far as the women's division go. Her being the Ronda Rousey of an AEW division is absolutely 100% fact. WWE knows that. And if WWE is going to continue to push Sasha Banks and Bayley in the manner that they're pushing them now, let them go. But you won't. You won't. You'll promise them the world. You'll give them this. You'll tell them that this is going to get better and that's going to get better. Nothing gets better. Nothing gets better. Because everything that comes out of WWE's mouth is nothing but bullshit. They want to keep you under lock and key just so that you don't go to AEW. Give me a fucking break. This company is absolutely in the fucking shithole for reasons like this. I urge her to really sit down and honestly think. She's a smart woman. Is things in WWE going to change for the better? The answer is no. The answer is no. The best thing for Sasha Banks right now is to get out and find your happiness. Being in the Dominican Republic with your husband for 2 weeks is fine. But that unhappiness is going to immediately just fall over you again as soon as you walk through those curtains. Because nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change. Look at Alexa Bliss's Twitter on Friday afternoon about thanking everybody for getting her to where she is today. You know, it's the right thing to thank everybody for being in the position that I'm in today. Cheap shots at Sasha Banks. Cheap shots. Indirectly at Sasha Banks. I was looking at this and I swear to God, hatred fell over me. Because I know people like that in real life. Like, who the fuck are you acting all righteous and as if you never did any wrong? And you're indirectly saying, oh, if you're in my position, it's right to give thanks to everybody that helped you get to where I am today. Fuck that. Fuck that. It's who you know and if they like you or not. It's not about fucking who helped you to get there. That's only one step, a small step of why you are where you are. If you talk a big game and you pull the political strings, sure, you'll get 5 undeserved fucking title reigns. Meanwhile, Sasha Banks, she don't play that political game. She's not rubbing elbows with the fucking elite. Right? The elite in WWE, she ain't rubbing elbows. She ain't fucking sitting down, acting all sweet and charming to them. No, she wants to fucking wrestle. But fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck Sasha Banks for going out there saying that she's the best female professional wrestler in the world. Fuck that. Fuck having self-worth and belief in yourself, knowing that you are the best at what you do because you're confident in your abilities. Fuck that. Fuck that. That's illegal in WWE. That's looked down upon. That's shunned in WWE. The way to get ahead in WWE is by doing everything opposite of what Sasha Banks has done. Now she knows the game. The next game is to get the fuck out and go to AEW and make sure that when you look behind you, that they're fucking crying a river of tears. That is the only fucking thing that Sasha Banks needs to do. They're not going to grant her release. They'd be fucking stupid to grant her release. They didn't grant the Revival of all fucking teams their release because they knew exactly where they were going to go. WWE knows that if the Revival leave, they'll be bigger than they've ever been in the WWE. How the fuck could you not? Matches with the Young Bucks and the Lucha Brothers would tear down fucking main events across the country. I know this. Same thing with Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks would be on every fucking billboard, every poster, every fucking graphic that you see on social media when it comes to All Elite Wrestling. WWE doesn't value Sasha Banks. So you know what, Sasha? Go somewhere and find people who are going to value you for what you are fucking worth. Don't ever let anyone fucking tell you that you are not good enough, and don't ever let anyone fucking tell you that this is it. Fuck that mentality. So sick of these fucking people on social media saying that she's an entitled bitch. If she's an entitled bitch for being passionate and believing in herself, sign me the fuck up. Am I entitled? That I fucking criticize WWE every single week? No. Because I know that they're doing wrong. Are you an entitled fan when your sports team pulls out your fucking starter after 7 innings of one-hit ball just to put in your worst bullpen relief and then he blows the game? Are you entitled then? No! The manager fucked up! He made a bad decision! WWE's making a bad decision. I have every fucking given right to call them out on their bullshit. And this is something that I'm calling them out on. You don't value Sasha Banks? Well, go fuck yourself. Sasha Banks, I'm sure, is going to find value eventually. Eventually. You ain't going to keep her on the lock and key forever. She'll eventually find somebody. And if she wants out, the best thing for her to do is walk. Oh, take a little bit. Take a 2-week vacation. It's only a heat of the moment decision. 4 years is a fucking long time to be in the heat of the moment decision. That woman was a volcano ready to erupt. How the fuck are you going to walk into WrestleMania, the biggest show of the year, unhappy about your fucking life as tag team champions? Of all fucking nights of the year, the biggest show that the company puts on all year, she's asking for her release. I don't know what else to tell you based on that. Everybody should be at WrestleMania, happy to be there. This woman wants nothing more than to fucking succeed, and WWE's doing everything to hold her down. I don't blame her for leaving whatsoever, or wanting to leave. More as this develops, but everything that I said here is 100% fact. I don't give a shit what anybody says. That woman deserves better. We all know it. But nothing's going to change. What Vince wants, Vince gets. And what we want, we never get. We want Sasha. We want Bayley. Be a long time coming before we ever see them in another takeover-worthy match. Either one of them. Either one of them. And WWE is sitting on a gold mine with Sasha and Bayley, and they refuse to fucking push them as the face of a division that desperately needs someone like Sasha and Bayley. This is Off the Script, episode 269, part 2. We got a lot more. WWE reportedly introducing a new women's title for Becky Lynch. Possible heel turn for Bayley. Big E injured. Also, Hulk Hogan and Big E had a heart-to-heart, one-on-one. We'll talk about that as well. And news on the Superstar shakeup. All right here on part 2 of episode 269. This is Off the Script.
Delete this hard.
Alive with it. People still did. Man, I said I wanted to be a little bit more professional in my approach to the cold open for Off the Script today, but man, that went right out the fucking window. It's very difficult to not sit here and be passionate about what you're talking about, man, and, you know, I put a lot of effort into constructing that cold open. I wanted to bring the cold hard facts. I wanted to present you guys with something that you might not have been thinking of in the moment. And what they're doing, not only with Sasha, but with Asuka, Ember Moon, Bayley, Ruby Riott. It's not right. It's not right. And they're doing wrong. And I mean it wholeheartedly that WWE has a select group of women that they push and they neglect a whole bunch of women that don't particularly fit their mold. It's right in plain sight. You just have to open up your eyes and look and watch and dissect. It's not by coincidence that Lacey Evans just shows up on TV and she's being pushed against the undisputed women's champion right away. And she hasn't had one match. Not one match. It's disgusting. It really is disgusting. And I wish WWE would do better. And I know my words fall on deaf ears. Who the fuck am I? But nothing's going to change. As long as the people who are in charge over there are still in charge, nothing's going to change. If you guys enjoyed that cold open, man, please hit that thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. We got a lot more to go over. WWE news on the next Saudi Arabia show. It's reportedly causing issues for everything on the calendar, including it caused issues for WrestleMania. We'll talk about that. Also, Superstar Shakeup news. WWE has Raw, SmackDown working Monday and Tuesday, trading superstars on both shows. Why did that happen this week? And news on the shakeup as we come to the shakeup on this week's show. We got Big E, Nia Jax reportedly injured. News on Rey Mysterio, why his match with Samoa Joe was cut so short at WrestleMania. AJ Styles also on the DL. And we'll talk about the Bret Hart Hall of Fame situation, him being attacked. Everything that led up to that and where Bret Hart sits right now, including Vince McMahon's thoughts on what he's going to do with the Hall of Fame in the near future. All that today, right here on episode 269, part number 2. This is Off the Script, April 13th, 2019. Thank you guys so very much for all of your support. Please follow me on social media at JD from NY206 on both Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. If you guys are new around here, I'm sorry to hear that. I really am. I don't know what the fuck took you so long to find me to begin with. But now that you're here, welcome. Welcome. Nobody does it like we do it right here on Off the Script. If you guys are veterans of the channel, thank you guys so very much for all your supports. Patreon.com/JD from NY206 if you guys want to show appreciation to the podcast. It's there. If you guys want to do it, it's there. So Patreon, JD from NY206 on the Patreon. If you guys missed any of this week's videos, man, ton of content. I think I put up more content this week than I did WrestleMania weekend. We got Monday Night Raw. We got SmackDown Live. We got NXT right there. The Sky Pirates, Kairi Sane and Io Shirai, setting sail for the main roster. I hope not. But we talk about it. Make sure you guys go and check that out. AEW news, TV deal with them, and maybe them getting an off season. Also, Dean Ambrose being offered 7 figures by All Elite Wrestling. All that plus so much more right there on the channel. Link is in the little eye in the top right corner of the screen. Drop that down. Go and check it out. Everything you need is right there. Barbershopwindow.com/offthescript for your merchandise. Code BSHOP20 if you guys want to go get your Off the Script merchandise. We are officially partnered with Barbershop Window, which is a Pro Wrestling Tees sister website. So you guys know the quality of the t-shirts is going to be A+++. So make sure you guys go and do that. Barbershopwindow.com/offthescript. Harry's, you guys know the deal with Harry's. Harry's.com/script. They are the #1 official sponsor of the podcast, and I love it. I use it every single week. I love the closeness, the smooth, comfortable glide of the blade, gently going over my face. Why should you use Harry's? Why? I want you guys to be one of the 10 million plus who have tried Harry's and claim your offer today by going to harrys.com/script. Harry's founders knew they were just tired of paying for razors that were overpriced and overdesigned. They knew a great shave didn't come from gimmicks like vibrating heads and flex balls or handles that look like spaceships. Tactics. These are genuine tactics that the leading brands have used to raise prices for decades. They fixed all that by combining a simple, clean design with quality, durable blades at a fair price. Harry's actually also bought a world-class blade factory in Germany that's been making quality blades for over 95 years. And they've received over 20,000 five-star reviews on Trustpilot and Google alone. You know that it's a damn good product. Harry's replacement cartridges are just $2 as well. That's half the price of a Gillette Fusion Pro Shield. And all of their products, all of their blades, come with a 100% quality guarantee. If you don't love your shave, let them know, and they will give you a full refund. So what does the $13 value trial set include? Well, it includes a handle. Choice of color is yours. The orange, the evergreen, or the navy blue. 5-blade razor with a lubricating strip and a trimmer blade. Rich lathering shave gel and a travel blade cover as well if you're a man on the go, if you're traveling for business, or if you're a guy like me who likes to have your shaving products nicely spread out on the bathroom sink, and that travel blade cover makes the blade look fucking good, man. Really. Listeners of my show, you guys can redeem the trial offer by going to harrys.com/script. Make sure you go to harrys.com/script to redeem your offer and let them know that I sent you to help support Off the Script. Let's start off with these minor baby stories, man. These little minor stories here to start episode 269 of Off the Script, off today for Saturday, April 13th, 2019. Nia Jax is hurt. I don't want to see anybody get hurt, but man, this is fucking good news. This is good news. Why is it good news, JD? Why are you being an insensitive prick? Well, Nia Jax now being there means we have one less terrible wrestler on Monday Night Raw. That's a fucking win-win situation for me. Seems like Nia Jax can now be added to the injured superstar list. Seems to be racking up after WrestleMania. I find it really odd how all of these injuries were kept on the hush-hush before WrestleMania. I guess everybody wanted that big WrestleMania payday, and then, boom, goodbye. Go get rest, go get surgery. We'll come back when we come back. AJ Styles, Big E, Daniel Bryan apparently hurt. I don't have any news on him, but WWE is not releasing any information. Meltzer actually reported on Daniel Bryan. He doesn't know if it's serious or not. Nobody knows anything. But Nia Jax did confirm that she's injured. Nia Jax tweeted out a picture of herself saying that she will be gone for a while saying that the photo was leaving fans something to remember her by. I don't want to remember anything by Nia Jax. You could take Tamina with you. She said, I'll be gone for a while. Here's something to remember me by. And she posted a picture, a selfie of herself. Pro Wrestling Sheet reports that Nia Jax tore her ACLs in both knees and will undergo surgery. No timetable for her return was given at this point. Take Tamina with you, and when you are ready to come back, don't. Stay out. Stay wherever you are. Monday Night Raw would certainly benefit from just having you away from the show. That's all I'm going to say on that. I don't want anybody hurt, but she's terrible. She's completely god-awful. Stay away. Big E is hurt. Big E is also hurt. It's been reported over the last couple of days that we'll talk about AJ Styles in a second. I mentioned Daniel Bryan. Big E actually took to Twitter and he commented about him being injured. And he says this, and I quote, making mincemeat of my meniscus, crossbody cooked the cartilage. Bye for a bit. So there you go. Big E poking fun at himself for, I guess, tearing his meniscus. Roughly translated, Big E is suggesting that his knee is in bad shape. The bye for a bit at the end of his message might suggest that he's taking some time away from WWE to recuperate. Hopefully it's not that long. I don't know how this is going to factor into Kofi Kingston's push as WWE champion, but Big E is going to be out for a while. This could be a good thing. Not for Big E, but it could be a good thing for Xavier Woods. And there was plans for WWE to actually push all members of the New Day individually while keeping the group together. This could really see Xavier Woods go on a singles run, maybe for the United States title, or if the Superstar Shakeup brings the IC title over to SmackDown Live and the US title goes over to Monday Night Raw, this could be a way to get Big E in a mid-card championship title feud. We'll see what happens. But as far as breaking up the New Day, those rumors are merely that. They're just rumors, and at this point, I don't think I'd split up the New Day anyway. Because there was reports coming out of WrestleMania that Big E and Xavier were going to turn on Kofi and they were going to pull an Evolution type deal and they turn on Kofi. I don't know if that's in the cards right now, and I honestly think that Kofi is going to have, 1 or 2 month title reign, and it's going to go right back to a big name as WWE prepares to take SmackDown to Fox. All of this right now, enjoy it while it lasts. I have to insist on this again. Enjoy it while it lasts. It's not going to last forever, but I wish Big E a speedy recovery, and I hope he gets back to being at 100%. AJ Styles is hurt. AJ Styles was injured at WrestleMania 35. Mike Johnson reported that AJ Styles suffered an injury during the spot where he hit the big springboard forearm on Randy Orton to the outside. That phenomenal forearm to the floor was a great high spot for the match, but it did not do AJ Styles any favors whatsoever. PW Insider is reporting that Styles had an x-ray and the results came back that he has no broken bones. This is a great sign, a positive sign for AJ in the WWE, but it is still unclear when he will be cleared to return to in-ring action. Although, the initial thinking that Styles injured himself came on the superplex spot from Randy Orton. That was a beautiful superplex, one that my father actually texted me about. He said that was the most beautiful superplex off the top rope that he has ever seen. So it could have been one of two situations. Both spots were incredibly intense and hard-hitting. It could have honestly came from either one of them. Who gives a shit where it came? As long as AJ Styles has no broken bones and he's not going to require surgery, he's only going to be out for a couple of weeks. Let him get better, and he'll be back in the ring. As long as he's not hurt, who gives a shit where the spot came from? Going back to the Big E situation, Big E, we all know, I just reported that it was a situation where he is going to be out for a little bit. But Big E was in the news for other reasons as well besides his injury. Big E personally met with Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan sat Big E down 1-to-1, personally apologized to Big E for everything before WrestleMania. This was in the news. Hulk Hogan was blackballed from the WWE after audio was released of him using awful racial slurs and admitting that he is a racist to a point. This did not sit well with WWE, and they removed him from his judging position on Tough Enough that year and was scrubbed from history, even removed him from the Hall of Fame. Hogan is now back with the company, but there could be some who feel this is still too soon. The New Day released a statement concerning Hogan's WWE return months ago, and they were not too thrilled. Hulk Hogan apparently had a heart-to-heart with Big E Langston. One of the names, I think about that. I think about WWE cutting people's names and how we complained about it then and how we don't complain about it now. Big E sounds so much better, Cesaro sounds so much better. Rusev sounds so much better. I still can't get over the fact that they cut Mustafa Ali, and I can't get over the fact that they cut Andrade Cien Almas from his name. But WWE and Vince has a good idea every now and then. Not going to fucking shit on them for cutting people's names, but sometimes it doesn't make sense. Anyway, Big E, I don't know why I said Big E. Remember Big E Langston? Jesus Christ, a long time ago. Must have been when he was WWE NXT champion down in NXT. I think so, right? Big E, anyway, before the show, met with Hulk Hogan, and he actually mentioned it on Twitter. I'd like to think everyone deserves a path to redemption, says Big E. I appreciate Hulk Hogan taking the time to apologize and hear my position today. It was great that Hulk Hogan was able to meet with Big E and discuss things. I know at the Hall of Fame, from what I seen, when Hogan inducted Brutus the Barber Beefcake, that the New Day did not give him a ovation. They didn't really acknowledge his presence. They just sat there, just whatever. But Hulk Hogan seemed more than happy to be back in WWE. He was happy to be at the Hall of Fame. He was happy to be at WrestleMania doing the opening skit with Alexa Bliss. And I'm happy that everybody is moving on from this. I really am. You are completely, in your right, in your lane to not feel anything towards Hulk Hogan anymore. So be it. If you do, that is completely on you. But I'm happy to see that something that Hulk Hogan is so passionate about and something that honestly made us all fans. He and his presence, his character, and what he did and what he contributed to the pro wrestling landscape. Whatever he did made us all a fan. And I know how important that is to him. It's got to be. This is his life. He don't want to be blackballed and removed from the Hall of Fame and exiled. And I'm glad that WWE gave him another opportunity. I'm glad the New Day and Big E, who's one of the more outspoken members of the New Day, have given him a second chance and listened to him, and I'm glad that they talked. Road to redemption, said Big E. Don't fuck up again. You know, I don't think Hogan's going to fuck up again, but I'm glad that everybody could look at this and move past it, because nobody wants to have that weigh on their mind and be like, fuck, I'm never going to make this right. I'm glad that they actually got to talk and water under the bridge, slowly but surely, man. That's a good deal there for Hulk Hogan and Big E. Rey Mysterio, man, all these injuries. Rey Mysterio. Why his WrestleMania match was cut so short with Samoa Joe. Dave Meltzer called attention to how short Rey Mysterio's match was on the Wrestling Observer Live. After mentioning Mysterio's ankle injury, it was proposed that Samoa Joe choked out Rey Mysterio quickly because he wasn't able to work a longer match. This is unfortunate because Rey Mysterio said on the WWE Hall of Fame red carpet that his ankle was 90%, and he hoped to have it in full working order by the time WrestleMania rolled around. Now, of course, the result of his U.S. title match completely told a different story. He was choked out in 60 seconds by the Coquina Clutch and Samoa Joe. This is really a shame because Rey Mysterio's son Dominic was actually supposed to be at ringside for his match, and they were expecting him to get involved as well. Dominic trained with Lance Storm, so clearly he has one of the best minds and best teachers you could possibly ask for training him. However, the length of his father's Mania match just didn't give him an opportunity to do anything per storyline-wise with Samoa Joe. Now, the reason why it was cut so short, WWE cited that it was cut, or there was a rumor going around that it was cut due to time constraints, because the event was going on too short. Now, if that is really the case and you believe that, you're a fucking idiot. No matter if this match was 60 seconds or 60 minutes, it doesn't matter. The event was too long, either way you looked at it, before these guys went out there and did their match. Now, the reason why this match was cut so short was because Rey Mysterio was only at 90% with his ankle. WWE actually did the right thing, and it sucks for Mysterio that he couldn't give us a match at WrestleMania this year. Hopefully next year. And hopefully it's a better opponent and a better situation. Because we're supposed to be Andrade. Now, looking back at it, yeah, don't you think WWE is kind of second-guessing themselves now as to, fuck, we put this guy in there with Baron Corbin, and if we didn't do that on a throwaway edition of Monday Night Raw, we wouldn't be in this situation, and we would have had a Rey Mysterio vs. Samoa Joe match for the United States Championship. The reason why the match was so short was because WWE didn't want to risk further injury. And I'm sure Rey Mysterio was okay with that. What are you going to do? Can't go out there and give me a fucking 15-minute barn burner with Samoa Joe. Not going to happen on 90% of an ankle. Because a match with Samoa Joe, I'm sure, is going to, make that injury from 90% possibly down to a 60, 50. Might break the ankle. Who the fuck knows? So the reason why the match went so short was because they didn't want to risk further injury. And to be honest with you, I don't really blame them. That's a good move, a good call by WWE. And it worked out for Samoa Joe. Rey Mysterio's loss is Samoa Joe's gain. Samoa Joe missed his first 2 WrestleManias being with the WWE. First year, they didn't even put him on the show. He was completely healthy. Second year, he was hurt. This year, he looks like a fucking savage coming out of WrestleMania, beating Rey Mysterio, a fucking Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer, in 60 seconds. So hopefully Rey Mysterio comes back. He has a spot on SmackDown Live that is of some importance. And we move on from this. But Samoa Joe got a dominant title defense out of it. Either way you look at it, it might not even matter to you because they fucking fucked up Joe 3 weeks in a row leading into WrestleMania. So, who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? We'll see what happens with Samoa Joe and the United States Championship. By the looks of it on SmackDown Live, they're grooming the United States Championship for Braun Strowman, as he might be moving over to SmackDown Live via the Superstar Shakeup. Now, Rey Mysterio, sticking with Rey Mysterio, the reason why WWE really brought back Rey Mysterio. And this was talked about on the Observer Radio with Dave Meltzer. He says this, and I quote, "Why'd they spend so much money to do this to him? I mean, they paid him a ton of money because they didn't want him to go with AEW, or actually at the time it was New Japan. But they just wanted him. They wanted him off the indie scene." End quote. Now, Mysterio was working dates for New Japan, and he made promises to make more matches happen. Then a WWE contract just came around in time for him not to work All In. Or actually, he did work. He worked All In. I think he worked All In. He did work All In. He was in that match with Bandito. I'm fucking losing my mind. He was in that match with the Bucks and Bandito So, yeah, he worked all in, but then he quickly went to the WWE after that. They just wanted him off the indie scene, but once WWE got Mysterio back, it seems like they didn't know what to do with him. And I made mention of this on my WrestleMania review. I make mention of it all the time. Everybody that is thriving on the indie scene, in this case it was Rey Mysterio. You could look at Samoa Joe, you could look at Finn Balor, you could look at Shinsuke Nakamura, all guys that were brought up from NXT, Bobby Roode. All guys that were brought up from NXT, they got this certain appeal to them. It's a certain luster to them, right? A certain excitement. Like, man, I can't wait to see what these guys do on the main roster if there's such a successful run in NXT. And then they come into the WWE and they just feel humanized. They feel ordinary. They don't feel special anymore. And that's exactly what happened to Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio was fucking lighting the world on fire. He did Lucha Underground. He was doing great in Lucha Underground. It was like a new Rey Mysterio. Did the All In show. He was working for New Japan. People were excited about, Mysterio and Liger and Mysterio and Ospreay. Then he walks into WWE and like that. All that special feeling about Rey Mysterio is like, oh, he's just like everybody else now. There's no difference between a Rey Mysterio and a fucking Rusev. It sucks. So, obviously, that's the reason why they brought him back. This is why they want everybody. Not just Mysterio. This is the reason why they want everybody and why they're locking up their own talent right now that's under contracts to extensions. They don't want them to go anywhere. In this case, they didn't want Mysterio with AEW or New Japan Pro Wrestling. Not really all that surprising of a move. Let's talk about Bayley. Bayley, possible heel turn coming after the Superstar shakeup. Bayley and Sasha Banks, we talked about them in the beginning. They lost the women's tag team titles to the IIconics in a fatal four-way match. That's how we will be referring to them from now on, because they are two of the worst female professional wrestlers on the fucking planet. And then people are arguing with me that, they aren't great, but they're doing their job. They ain't doing their job with me. They may be doing their job with you because your fucking middle name is mediocre. And you don't have the slightest fucking clue as to what is good in a professional wrestling ring. You're probably the same fucking idiot that thinks Johnny Gargano didn't deliver a 5-star classic at TakeOver New York. Or the same fucking guy that thinks Adam Cole is a vanilla midget and he won't make it on the main roster. Sure. They lost the tag team titles to the IIconics in a fatal four-way match at WrestleMania. After that, it seemed Bayley turned a frustrated new leaf. I don't know if that's having to do with the fact that she lost the women's tag team titles per storyline, or if she's genuinely frustrated. I think it's the latter. Bayley faced Alexa Bliss in a losing effort on Raw. This was the Raw after WrestleMania. But as Dave Meltzer noted on Wrestling Observer Radio, it looked like Bayley might have been teasing a turn to the dark side. He says, and I quote, Bayley was getting more aggressive, and it almost seemed like the beginning of a tease of a heel turn. End quote. No, Mr. Meltzer, that's just somebody who just doesn't give a fuck anymore, and they want out. They honestly want out. Sasha Banks wasn't even on the show, and Bayley came out on her own looking plenty upset. Bayley lost to Alexa Bliss in a 3-minute squash match, and that didn't help matters for her either. With the Superstar shakeup coming up, you never know what is going to happen and which brand anyone is going to end up on. But Bayley could possibly be trying out a new heel persona, and we have to see if WWE does swing in that direction. I don't think so. I honestly think that Bayley is going to remain the same way we've always seen Bayley. I think Bayley will remain a loser on the main roster, and I honestly think the best thing for Bayley to do, and I hope WWE does this with the Superstar shakeup, because why the fuck not? You tout that NXT is your third brand. Why don't you include NXT in the shakeup? You're able to call people up from NXT. Why aren't you able to call people back down to NXT? Don't you think Bayley would be better off on NXT than on the main roster? Because you certainly ain't doing anything with her. Isn't that the right move to make? I don't understand the logic there. Same thing with Sasha Banks or Ember Moon or Ruby Riott. Why can we call up, but we can't bring back down? Why? Because it's going to be looked at as a promotion? Yeah, I think that's the reason. You don't want it to look like it's a promotion called up from NXT is a demotion. When you're on Raw and SmackDown and you possibly get called back down to NXT, that's a promotion. Tyler Breeze was just on social media. He said it best in one tweet. I want the North American Championship. Why isn't that guy on the main roster saying, I want the Intercontinental title or I want the US title? Tyler Breeze knows those two titles are fucking absolute garbage. Complete worthless fucking straps. Irrelevant. So he goes after the one title that actually has some sort of prestige. Velveteen Dream is making that title seem fucking wanted. Important. I want the North American Championship. You know what? I'd pay good money to see Velveteen Dream versus Prince Pretty in a feud. Why not? Why not? Let's make it happen. Bayley, speaking of Bayley, Sean Ross Sapp reported on Bayley. We all know the Sasha Banks situation. Bayley is frustrated with the WWE. He says, and I quote, I see them taking a chance elsewhere. Sasha is not happy. Bayley was very frustrated this weekend as well. Not to the point where Sasha was. Sasha has been sold a bill of goods for a long time, and they both were wasted in 2018. That's what he stated. So that's coming from Sean Ross Sapp, who has credible sources, and I would go on to believe what he states there. I hope for the best. I really do, for Bayley and Sasha, but it may be looking like nothing will ever change as far as they go. And I don't think WWE will ever move them back down to NXT because they know for a fact that's what they want. WWE will do everything to do the opposite of what they want. They're going to remain unhappy. You know, we're not going to make them happy by sending them to where they want. They're going to ride it out, and they're going to learn a fucking lesson. Don't cross the boss. And I'm not talking about Sasha. Don't cross Vince McMahon. Speaking of the women, WWE reportedly introducing a new women's title. Brad Shepard reports that WWE has constructed a new women's championship. It seems like his wording implies a singular championship design, which could indicate an intention to unify these two belts, because it really is fucking ridiculous that Becky is carrying around two championships. And we all know, and I'm just poking fun here, Vince McMahon does not want Becky continuing to call herself Becky Two Belts, because belt is a term that is illegal in the WWE universe. You can't say belt, because belts hold up your pants. Belts are not worn as championships. They're either a title or championship. This is Vince McMahon's logic. I am even so susceptible to this fucking terminology that I don't even use it when I do House of Glory commentary, because I know what I know about Vince McMahon. I say title or championship. I don't even say belt. I don't. I'll say belt in passing when I'm talking to somebody away from the camera or away from commentary, but championships or titles, I'm even conditioned by what I hear on WWE. According to a source in WWE, a new women's championship belt has been built. There it is again, the word belt. Apparently, it's similar to the current models with a white face, gold trimming, and a black belt. Ooh, nice. I like the black look. Now, we will have to wait and see what WWE decides to do with this new title or when it might be unveiled. The company is also said to be working on new tag team titles for the men as well, because those new tag team titles were reportedly completed and delivered to WWE in New York City. And this is the best case scenario, folks. I don't want to hear from some fucking cretin on social media how the division should not be unified or merged. This is the best for both divisions. Do you want another instance in which we get the Riot Squad versus the same fucking people for 52 weeks a year? Who is it going to be this time if not Sasha Banks? Can you sit there and stomach the Riot Squad versus fucking Naomi and Carmella for 52 fucking weeks? I can't. The divisions need to be merged. Some order of semblance needs to be fucking instituted to that division. Some order needs to be instituted in that division, whether it's a ranking or a fucking monitor of wins and losses. There needs to be one title. One title. I'm saying this shit, and it means nothing, because Lacey Evans hasn't thrown one fucking punch in a WWE ring, and she's probably the number one fucking contender for the Women's Championship. The divisions need to be merged. I am sorry. You can't have the tag teams resembling tag teams and doing the tag team thing only, take away from the overall singles division, and then keep the division separate on Raw and SmackDown. You can't do it. And the X factor in this entire situation is Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey is definitely going to be wanted by Fox on SmackDown Live. If she is a Raw exclusive superstar, she can't be on SmackDown Live. So how do you do that? How do you get behind all that bullshit? You merge the divisions. Ronda could show up on Raw. Ronda can show up on SmackDown Live. Problem solved. But I don't expect some fucking faceless idiot on social media to come to such a conclusion. They don't know any better. That's why I'm here. And you're over there with your Dorito-crusted fingers and your fucking 6 chins and your beer belly so big to a point where you can't see your own fucking cock and balls. There you go. Never question me again. I'm right and you're wrong. If they don't merge the divisions, then I will question why. Why? Simple as that. We'll have to wait and see. But Becky, I know, is not going to be holding 2 championships for the foreseeable future. It looks ridiculous. And, number 2, Becky is not going to defend the Raw title on Raw and come over to SmackDown and defend the SmackDown title. 1 women's titles to unify them all. Like the fucking ring. Like the ring in Lord of the Rings. You know, 1 ring to fucking guide them all. Whatever the fuck Frodo said before he threw it into the fucking volcano on Mount Doom. Anyway, you talk about Mount Doom. Mount Doom is WWE, for sure. You know, you want to talk about the why. Why they need to do this, why they need to do that, why they need to unify the women's divisions. Why aren't you with Audible? Why aren't you signed up free to Audible? audibletrial.com/offthescript. Make sure you guys sign up. It supports the podcast by literally doing nothing. You're sitting there listening to me doing nothing, so you might as well get something out of it. audibletrial.com/offthescript. You're going to do as I say and as I follows. Number 1, you're going to pick up your mobile device, whether you got Google or iPhone. I'm an iPhone guy. I'm an Apple guy. Pick up your iPhone. Pick up your Android. Download the Audible app for free from the Google Store or the iTunes Store. After you did that, you're going to go to audibletrial.com/offthescript. You're going to enter in your billing information. You're not going to be billed, so don't worry. Then you're going to get 30 days free of their service, and you'll have Audible for free. You can browse to your heart's desire for free. And on top of that, once you are in there for 30 days free, Audible's going to give you a thank you, and as a bonus, give you 1 free audiobook of your choice. There are over 200,000 choices to choose from, a lot of which are wrestling related, just like you see there. Shawn Michaels, Jim Ross, Chris Jericho, Daniel Bryan, Brock Lesnar, Justin Roberts, who's the new AEW ring announcer, Charlotte and Ric Flair, Second Nature, Stone Cold, and the death of WCW, DDP, Bob Holly, Dusty Rhodes, Roddy Piper, Bret Hart. The list goes on and on. Anything you want, 1 book for free. And here's the best part. If you guys don't like Audible service and say, you know what, JD, I want to support you, but I really don't want to be with the service, here's the best part. You can cancel at any time in the 30 days. Keep your audiobook for free, and you will not be billed. audibletrial.com/offthescript. It's a great way to support JD, Off the Script, and the channel right here on YouTube, man. Thank you guys so very much. WWE's got the Superstar Shakeup coming up on Monday and Tuesday. International flavor. We don't know what's going on. The reports are WWE has not even let their superstars know of where they will end up on Monday or Tuesday, which is unreal to me. How you don't tell anybody and you force them to wait on their travel plans, and then you put a hindrance on WWE Creative. How am I supposed to creatively write for a show in which I don't know who the fuck is going to be on said show? Unbelievable. The logic of this company. And we've seen on Raw and SmackDown people just showing up at will. No explanation or anything. It's as if the fucking brand split doesn't even exist anymore. There's no brand split in WWE. It's as if it never even fucking existed. They didn't give you a reason. And the only thing that we could come up with as a community as a whole, oh, well, it's WrestleMania season. Who gives a shit? That really isn't a solid explanation to the fucking brand split where Raw has its own exclusive roster and SmackDown has its own exclusive roster. If you don't want a brand split, then end the fucking brand split. If you don't want the brand split, make moves to end the fucking brand split and explain that it's going away and what you're doing in order to make that happen. Don't just have Drew McIntyre show up because, Cesaro and Sheamus ran into him in the locker room. Or Braun Strowman just randomly shows up because, Samoa Joe is challenging everybody and anybody on the roster. How comes Braun Strowman? Come on. Really? Kofi Kingston won the WWE Championship, and they were promoting a New Day celebration on Tuesday, and here he is on Monday. Why do we have to celebrate on Monday and then again on Tuesday? Why WWE had their Raw superstars work SmackDown and vice versa this week. PW Insider is reporting that The Miz, Daniel Bryan, Rey Mysterio, and AJ Styles, on top of Sasha Banks, were all sent home after WrestleMania. They had hard-hitting matches at Mania. Even though Mysterio was only 1 minute, he has the ankle injury. Therefore, WWE brought in Drew McIntyre, Braun Strowman, Lars Sullivan to fill out the show. Sullivan only did a run-in after the Hardys on SmackDown Live, and he attacked Kurt Angle on Monday Night Raw. But it was still notable segments because he debuted the Freak, finally debuted after being away with anxiety. Now, with the WWE Superstar shakeup happening next week, this could have been a hint at what is to come with WWE. McIntyre showed up on SmackDown. We could see him possibly be the next in line to challenge Kofi Kingston. Let me go around. Let me make a U-turn here. I mentioned this on SmackDown Live. Well, Drew McIntyre showed up. I'd like to see him challenge Kofi Kingston for the WWE Championship. That'd be a great match. People are telling me, you're complaining about Lacey Evans, but here you are. Drew McIntyre's one of your boys, and it's okay for him to get a title shot against Kofi Kingston, but you're complaining that Lacey Evans is set to get a title shot against Becky Lynch. First of all, we don't know what the fuck is going on. You're talking like you are working for WWE, like you're some insider. Shut the fuck up. Okay, number one. Number two, I understand Drew McIntyre hasn't done anything to get a WWE title shot, okay? I'm not saying put him immediately into a fucking title picture. Have him beat a guy here or a guy there. But we do have a fucking show coming up called Money in the Bank. So what are you going to do? This is WWE's fault. I didn't book the fucking pay-per-view calendar. Who the fuck else is there to challenge Kofi Kingston if Daniel Bryan is hurt? Nobody. Okay? Drew McIntyre may be one of my boys, but I agree. Getting a title shot for basically doing nothing is not right. I'm just merely saying he could be one of the guys to challenge Kofi Kingston. I don't like giving out title shots to people that don't work for them. A la Lacey Evans, which is ridiculous. And again, we don't know where these fucking people are going to end up. For all we know, the split could really merge the divisions. I don't know what's going on. I don't know who's going where, what brand they're going to be on. I don't know if the IC title and the US title are changing shows. I don't know. So don't jump down my throat. Who else is there? So we see McIntyre, Strowman, Sullivan. With the shakeup next week, we've seen hints. McIntyre on SmackDown, Strowman on SmackDown. We don't know where Lars Sullivan's going to end up. But if Strowman's moving to SmackDown, Lars Sullivan will probably find a good home on Monday Night Raw because he needs to be built as the resident monster on said show. That does not include Braun Strowman because if you put Braun Strowman and Lars Sullivan together, Sullivan's looking up at Strowman. He doesn't look all that intimidating now, does he? That's just common logic. Now, I made a point back when Sullivan was supposed to debut that I felt like SmackDown Live would have been a good home for him because there's smaller guys over there like Styles and Hardy and Rey Mysterio, guys like that could sell for Braun Strowman and make him look really good. But I don't know what's going to happen. If Strowman's moving over to SmackDown to challenge Samoa Joe for the United States title, it may be a good idea to keep Sullivan on Monday Night Raw. And Monday Night Raw is really Vince McMahon's baby. If Vince really wants to baby Lars Sullivan and take him under his wing and make that his new pet project, that probably would be best for Lars Sullivan. So we've seen some hints. Sullivan did the run-in on the Hardys, like I said. He did the run-in on Kurt Angle. And WWE could have always been throwing out a red herring just to throw people off and people speculating about who will actually get changed around next week. WWE superstars do whatever Vince McMahon tells them to do. They show up when they are scheduled and work angles given to them. With the superstar shakeup coming around next week, it adds even more to the unpredictability. Dave Meltzer noted on the Wrestling Observer Radio that the WWE superstars don't know which brand they will end up on after the shakeup is over. This is nothing new. This is a set initiative in WWE for the last couple of years, but it is certainly frustrating for superstars who are trying to figure out their personal plans. He says, and I quote, "Literally nobody knows. I talked to a couple of guys today, and they don't know where they're going next week. Nobody knows, and that's not unusual. This happens every single year." End quote. And the reason why WWE does this is because they feel like it is a genuine reaction from the fans and the superstars alike when they get, I guess, put on a certain show, and it's great TV to them to capture that in real life moment of their genuine reaction. So that's why they do it. You know, it adds a real life presentation to the overall program when the unpredictability is there. But I really hate these shakeups. I honestly really do. You know, it's unpredictable and it makes the shows newsworthy. Fine. But the shakeups are, honestly, if you really think about it logically, they're fucking stupid. They really are. Like, what is the whole sense of it? Like, what is the whole logic behind it? You just show up to work and you just show up on Raw and SmackDown and they tell you to go out there because you're on said show. Like, who is putting you on the show? How are you being decided on if you go to Raw or SmackDown? There's no explanation about it. You just show up and literally it's like a fucking snow globe. You land wherever you land. I don't like that. I honestly think it's fucking stupid. And I don't know why WWE doesn't take the time to figure something out as far as a draft goes. There's a draft every year in every major sport. Why can't you do it with the amount of superstars you have on the main roster? I don't get it. Include NXT. Make it a real sports-like orientation. They got this new show showing up on Fox FS1, right? On Tuesday nights. Why can't you use Fox as a way to give a real sports-like presentation to the WWE and the overall product by having a fucking draft? By sitting down correspondents at a table and having, a set destination for the draft. Whether it's in Stamford, Connecticut, or in the WWE locker room in whatever city they're in that day. And show the superstars sitting around being drafted by Raw and SmackDown. Have representatives of the McMahon family there calling out their names. Make it feel fucking real. And then have the correspondents on FS1 come October. Just talk about why this is a good move and future matchups, potential matchups, how this guy matches up with said champion on that show. And, new matchups for the main event scene on this show. Tag team division here. How that's going to be changed. Women's division over here and blah, blah, blah. Who got called up from NXT? Who's being drafted from NXT UK to NXT? How that makes NXT so much more exciting. And vice versa. Why? Or am I just talking out my ass? I don't understand how this has no explanation. You just show up and you randomly shove through the fucking curtain. Go out there. You're now on Raw. I don't know, man. Maybe I just hope and pray and wish and fantasize that things would make sense, but this is WWE. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. They want your money, and they need to produce content, and that's all they give a shit about. They got all the greatest talent in the business under one roof, and they don't know how to have fun with it. What a fucking shame. Really. Superstar shakeup. The brand split right now is out the window. Hopefully things make sense on Monday and Tuesday, and they go right back to fucking making everything make sense. Have a main event scene on both shows. Have a mid-card on both shows. Merge the women's division. Merge the tag team divisions. And that's it. That's it. You don't need to do anything else. That would solve all of your fucking issues. That would make it less stressful for the people just figuring out what to do with this fucking shakeup and creatively writing for this shakeup. Tag teams on both shows. Done. Women on both shows. Done. One title for tag teams, one title for women. All you got to do is worry about who's getting called up from NXT, who's getting called up from NXT UK, who's being moved from SmackDown to Raw and SmackDown, or Raw to SmackDown, vice versa. who's being moved from Raw to SmackDown to SmackDown to Raw. That's it. That's it. And if you want to switch the Intercontinental title and the U.S. title from SmackDown to Raw, whatever. Whatever. Simple. I am not talking some weird fucking language. I'm not talking fucking space fuck 101, okay? I'm talking WWE. This is easy. And they refuse to make things easy for themselves. Everything is chaos and fucking just complete mess. Jesus fucking Christ. You want to talk about complete mess? Saudi Arabia causing a mess for WWE's pay-per-view, and it caused issues for WrestleMania. Brad Shepard noted on the Oh You Didn't Know podcast that he was told of one of WWE's biggest issues for arranging the show this year at WrestleMania was because they also have a big Saudi Arabian event on the schedule as well. He says, and I quote, not only was WWE at WrestleMania in the main event was the finish of that match botched, but I was told by a source in the company that I was told the entire process was a mess this year, and it was mentioned that one of those reasons was the preparation for the show in Saudi Arabia. End quote. WWE does understandably value the Saudi shows more than WrestleMania because it does bring in a substantially larger amount of profit for the company. It seems like all of the booking issues could have stemmed from the fact that they were trying to arrange two shows at once. So, whose fault is that? I do not pity WWE. You think it's all great, you think it's all fucking fun, and it's rainbows and fucking sunflowers right in the garden. That's a beautiful fucking day, and you think you're gonna be on the fucking porch in your rocking chair drinking a fucking Arnold Palmer with a dash of fucking tequila, right? You fucking idiots! You think it's all fucking great. This is what you get. This is what you get. These are the consequences for you taking $500 fucking million from these fucking people over in Saudi Arabia. This is what you get. Oh, you think it's great? Oh, we got $500 million. Look, we'll just report it at the end of the month. Oh, look at all the money we made. Right? So what are you getting? What are you getting? You think you're getting a fucking free ride to comfortable fucking lifestyle? No, of course not. By you taking that money, now you have the fucking daunting task of booking an 8-hour WrestleMania show and another 5 hours of a fucking show that is nothing more than a glorified house show piece of shit in Saudi Arabia. How do you feel? How do you feel? You don't care. All the money you're making and all the wrestlers going there to make all this big money, they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. At the end of the day, all your complaining was worth it. 13, 14 hours of fucking content you got to produce between these two shows, right? And then look at the quality of the said shows. WrestleMania, decent. Nothing there. Nothing that really resembled a fucking WrestleMania. Then the Saudi show, you already got Elias versus The Undertaker planned for this Saudi show. Man, I can't fucking wait to fall asleep. They don't give a shit. Saudi event causing issues. No shit! Of course! You got Money in the Bank coming up, and then right after Money in the Bank, in 3 weeks, you got the Saudi show. Whose fault is that? Why don't you fucking eliminate one of the garbage shows that usually put on, like Battleground or whatever? You know? Hell in a Cell? Just take out one and put it in the fucking spot in which the other show was in. Replace it with something. What is the fucking reason for all these shows? Whatever you don't put on pay-per-view, here's a fucking idea. Why don't you make Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live feel a little bit more pay-per-view-like? Everything gotta be a special event behind a fucking paywall on the WWE Network. Fucking shit! You take out one pay-per-view, take out Battleground. Put this event in Battleground spot. Whatever you're missing with Battleground, which is probably fucking nothing, why don't you fucking put importance on Monday Night Raw during that month? I don't understand it. Of course it's going to cause issues. 15 hours of wrestling in a span of 3 weeks? This was before it was moved. I don't know, man. What the fuck do I know? I'm some basement-dwelling virgin slob who talks into a camera and yells at WWE. The fuck do I know? Apparently Billy Graham don't know anything. Billy Graham is a fucking dummy. He mentioned Kofi Kingston. That he was 145 pounds and should not be competing for the WWE Championship because it's not believable. So then he goes on Facebook and he talks about Kofi Kingston again after he won the WWE title in probably one of the best moments, if not the best moment, during WrestleMania 35. And he tells Kofi Kingston, now that he won the WWE title, bulk up and take steroids. Pretty ironic coming from a guy who made a living off injecting himself with steroids. In his latest Facebook post, Billy Graham suggests for Kingston to take steroids to bulk up. Graham also says Kingston should watch some of his promos from the 1970s. Okay, Billy Graham was a great fucking promo. Your point? Okay. So here's what he said, and I quote, Kofi Kingston, my advice. I'm sure Vince will sit Kofi down and say, now, Kofi, you listen to every word the superstar has to say about your run as the first African-born WWE champion. Congratulations to Kofi for winning the most important title in pro wrestling history. Sorry, you NWA guys. Notice the word heavyweight in this title. So, my man, I urge you to start doing some steroids and add about 50 pounds of solid muscle to your championship body. Vince won't care, honestly. Actually, he would be quite pleased with the muscular transformation, as I predict that you, young man, will have the longest run as WWE champion in the modern day history. That's exactly why Jinder Mahal got the run as WWE champion, because he showed up looking scrawny and fucking jobber-like, and then all of a sudden, he goes into the fucking science lab, he comes out a new fucking man. It's like the fucking Nutty Professor. Comes in looking all great, ripped. Vince is fucking jizzing on the floor all over the place right in front of Jinder. WWE Championship. Boom. Then, in just a short time, while you are red hot and the fans are celebrating your win, your two former partners in crime, E and Woods, get jealous and turn on you. In my day, there would be some blood in that double cross on you, but God forbid, not now. Then you have Daniel Bryan for rematches and your two former partners as opponents. My final suggestion is get all of my promo material together that you can in the WWE's vast library and study my promos. You must be an entertainer as well as a wrestler, my man, and best of luck in your run. Signed, Superstar Billy Graham. I kind of was reading that in the same vein I would read a hate mail. Kinda. Not really, but kinda. And I don't know how much sense this makes. This all seems like one big fucking troll. It really does. This is not a man who came out just a week ago before Kofi won the title and said that Kofi's soaking 145 pounds and is not a believable guy when you got the land of WWE being swallowed up by Brock Lesnar. Not a believable guy. But here we are in WWE, and some of the best WWE champions of all time are not 400 fucking pounds, jacked to the gills on steroids. Shawn Michaels was 215 fucking pounds, 220 pounds, and just like Kofi Kingston, a small guy. You know, Johnny Gargano, 160s, 170 pounds, whatever. NXT champion. You know, this is someone who is obviously disillusioned. He's disgruntled. He's coming off as an aging veteran who's fucking salty as fuck. That's what Billy Graham is coming off as. Now, if he didn't come out and say those things about Kofi, then this would have been a little bit more of a genuine fucking response, I'm assuming. The fact that he said what he said, I don't know if he's actually being serious here or if he's trolling just to kind of cover up the fact that he was proved wrong. I don't know. Take steroids? Please. If Kofi's going to do anything, it's not listen to Superstar Billy Graham. Give me a fucking break. Then he's got creative ideas and the New Day turning on him. Then you got Daniel Bryan. So you got challengers for days. Clearly that ain't happening. Big E's hurt. Big E is hurt. And Xavier Woods is not going to do anything without Big E there, healthy. Booker T actually fired back at Billy Graham for saying Kofi Kingston needs to take steroids, which was surprising. Booker T very outspoken on his podcast. And He mentioned on his Heated Conversations podcast this, and I quote, "These old guys need to wake up and realize that their era is over." To bring steroids into a conversation as far as what a man needs to do to get to the top in the wrestling business, man, there's more to life than the wrestling business. What about your health? They got a wellness policy now. They're trying to keep these guys alive. We lost so many soldiers along the way because of steroids and drugs. And for this man to say another man needs to be on drugs to become successful, he is successful. He's the WWE champion. End quote. And Booker T is right. This is why I said what I said. I don't know if it's superstar Billy Graham being serious. If he is, he's a fucking idiot. Or if he's just trolling people because he knew he was proved wrong with Kofi winning the WWE Championship. I don't know. But it's the same thing, and he fits a mold. Disgruntled veteran who wants to fucking still share some of the spotlight with these guys, and his time is over. His time is over. Now he's telling people what they need to do because it was successful for him. Whatever was successful for him is not going to work in 2019, and that's exactly what Booker T is saying. You know, we are living in a day and age that is completely different. Health is important to everybody. Simple fact that this guy went out there, whether it's trolling or not, and is explaining to Kofi that he needs to take substances to be successful. That's kind of shitting all over his 11-year career in which he didn't do any of that. Not one drug violation, not one fuck up. So yeah, now that you're the WWE champion, let's fuck up along the way. What a fucking dumbass. Billy Graham is a fucking idiot. Speaking of fucking idiots, the guy who attacked Bret Hart at the Hall of Fame, not even going to mention his fucking name because he's a fucking idiot. This guy attacked Bret Hart. He explains his bizarre actions. We all know it. I'm not going to go over all the fucking stories that were being reported. Someone rushed the ring, tackled the hitman. It was madness for a bit. WWE cameras cut away. You go back and watch the Hall of Fame, you can't see it. Superstars jumped into the ring. The New Day was sitting front row. Travis Brown, and you got fucking Scott Dawson of the Revival. Everybody was in there. Everybody. So this guy was taken into custody immediately. Dash Wilder gave him a uppercut punch while he was being carted off and carried away by everybody that was in the ring. He was held on $1,500 bond for criminal charges of assault and trespassing. This is being dealt with by the Brooklyn Criminal Court, according to the New York Times. At that particular time in the weekend, this fucking clown appeared in court and was given a bond amount. It was also reported by the New York Times that this guy had a very interesting reason for this assault, which he explained to the court. He says, and I quote, "It just felt like it was the right moment." Now, I seen a clip, and I don't want to get all conspiracy theory on you. I seen a clip of Bret the Hitman Hart on his one cameo on The Simpsons. And in this particular episode of The Simpsons, Bret Hart was standing there in his ring gear, all Simpsons-like, and Homer Simpson was in the same scene wearing a similar cap to what this fucking guy was wearing. That Jamaican cap, that colorful cap. I don't know what they're called or what kind of name is given to that particular piece of paraphernalia. So it's like the Simpsons knew ahead of time. It's like they're fucking soothsayers or fucking Nostradamus. I just find it very odd. That's not the only thing the Simpsons have predicted during their programming as well. Just saying. I just felt like it was the right moment. Yeah, it was the right moment to get a fucking uppercut by Dash Wilder right to the fucking jaw, you fucking idiot. Might have felt like the right moment for him, but as soon as Dash Wilder got that feeling, it was the right moment to fucking knock this guy out. The New York Post reports that Bret Hart and WWE security guard Thaddeus Jones were both granted orders of protection against this clown. This is understandable because the guy caused quite a stir and nobody wants a sequel. The judge also granted an order of protection against this clown to Hart and the security guard. This was a very scary event. WWE now has an official response to this matter. They put out, and I quote, "An over-exuberant fan surpassed our security at ringside." Where the fuck were they? I don't know. But they made this guy get to the ring. He briefly got into the ring. The individual has been since turned over to the proper authorities. Bret Hart also broke his silence on this and released the statement he posted on Instagram. What a wild weekend, to say the least. First of all, I want to thank WWE for not only the Hall of Fame honor for myself and Jim the Anvil Neidhart, but for their hospitality with my family and friends. Regarding the ceremony, firstly, I want to let everyone know that I am okay and was not injured. If there's one thing I want everyone to take away from the Hall of Fame ceremony is not so much of what happened, but how I wasn't going to let anything stop me from completing my tribute to my best friend and our team. I also am glad that I got to join Natalya and Beth Phoenix for the WrestleMania moments. Thank you, everyone, for your kind thoughts and words. So that was that. Which led to the story of Vince McMahon considering barring all fans from the Hall of Fame after this incident with Bret the Hitman Hart. Brad Shepard noted on the Oh You Didn't Know podcast that Vince McMahon was very upset about Bret Hart getting attacked during the Hall of Fame. In fact, he is toying with the idea of not letting fans into the ceremony ever again. He says, and I quote, Vince McMahon was red-faced, steaming mad over the incident with Bret Hart at the Hall of Fame. Excuse me, clearly, he fired that creative writer who wrote or helped Bret pen his Hall of Fame induction speech. By the way, I was told it's not easy to make it happen. I was told that this may be the final straw for fans attending the Hall of Fame ceremony, or at least limited fan attendance at the Hall of Fame ceremony. There's a little cut if you guys are watching on YouTube. Nice transition. I really had to go fucking take a piss. I'm sorry. Had a protein shake earlier, and then I had a fucking half a bottle of seltzer. Jesus Christ, like a fucking wild mongoose. I had to go to the bathroom. I think I'll end with this here. I don't really have much to add to this. I mean, my opinion is pretty much going to be the same as everybody else. And I immediately thought this when I heard of the news breaking on Saturday night. First of all, Bret Hart is a stroke and a cancer survivor. So to this fucking idiot, go fuck yourself. I hope you get run over by a fucking bus, okay? This guy is complete garbage. A complete garbage human being. The fact that he pinpointed Bret Hart, of all fucking people, okay? So, fuck you on that. Number two, the Hall of Fame, as far as its value. Honestly, if you're a fan of what's going on WrestleMania weekend, are you more apt to go to something else, or are you genuinely interested in the Hall of Fame? I know I'm not. I have found myself less and less interested in the Hall of Fame every single year because of its long-winded nature, the fact that I got to sit there for 3 hours, 4 hours on top of everything else that's going on that weekend. It just doesn't seem exciting to me. And I had a chance to go to the Hall of Fame this year, and I opted not to go to the Hall of Fame. It is important for those people who are being inducted. It's important for the Hall of Famers and the legends. So with that, I say this. WWE really didn't do anything with the Hall of Fame until 2004, 2005, when they brought it back and they really made it like a public thing for people to buy tickets to and attend. Before that, they weren't doing anything with it. It was just private. It was, for the superstars, legends, and Hall of Famers only. And then they ended up bringing it back because they seen it as a money-making opportunity for themselves during WrestleMania weekend. We'll package it with WrestleMania, the WrestleMania legends with WrestleMania. Oh, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. More content to provide for everybody to make WrestleMania more of a destination for people to come to and make a weekend out of it. But until then, WWE really didn't do anything with the Hall of Fame, and now they use it as a fuel to make more money. And I think they honestly need to go back to their old model where it wasn't for the general public, and they bring it back to the private setting with the wrestlers, Hall of Famers, and legends, and that's it. You televise it for the WWE Network, you make it a more intimate moment, more intimate setting for everybody involved. It's more special that way. Obviously fan interaction with everybody is cool, and it's great to see, and it really makes it seem larger than it really is, right? With the chants and the Hall of Famers and the legends kind of spitting it back to the fans and the fans spitting it back to them. That aspect of it is great. But this clown, one bad apple, spoils the entire fucking bunch. And I honestly think with Vince McMahon considering barring fans from the Hall of Fame, I think that's a great idea. Like Brad Shepard said, Vince was very upset about it. And he's toying with the idea of not letting fans going into the ceremony anymore. I agree with him. I don't agree with him on much of anything these days, but on this I do agree with. Because who's to say it won't happen again next year? Or the year after that? Depending on an even bigger legend. What if it's The Undertaker? Or what if it's fucking Batista? Or whomever, you know? It's just a shitty situation. There's got to be another way for WWE to make more money or just as much money by doing something else to get fans to go to that isn't this. I would be very interested to know how much money the WWE takes in from the Hall of Fame as far as a weekend destination type thing to add on top of the WrestleMania package. I would really love to know how much money they really make from the Hall of Fame, that if they did away with it, how much they would be losing. Move it to the private setting. Just keep it intimate, and that is it. Keep it between everybody in the WWE, legends, Hall of Famers, and superstars alike, and that is it. That is it. I don't know what else to say, because the idea of this happening again is obviously going to be there. It's going to be there. And not only with the WWE, anywhere you go, concerts, a fucking movie, it doesn't matter. No matter how much security guards or how many fucking people patting you down at the fucking entrance to see if you got anything that's going to set off the metal detector, it doesn't matter. There's always going to be a fucking idiot to ruin the fun for everybody else. Move it out of the fucking arena and put it in an intimate setting where this is unlikely or less likely to happen. Now, granted, I enjoyed watching what they did. I loved the setup in the Barclays Center with the ring and the podium and the fans in the background, and it just looked great. It had a great look and feel to it. But if this is a risk that is going to happen, you're willing to take a risk on something like this happening, I don't think it's worth it. I really do not think it's worth it. So that's my thoughts on that. I don't know what else to add. I really don't. But I would genuinely be curious to know how much money WWE would be losing if they don't offer the Hall of Fame as part of the WrestleMania package. I really want to know how much money they would be losing as far as the Hall of Fame if they do away with it like they used to. And then they only brought it back in 2003, 2004, 2005, one of those years, where they packaged it with Hall of Fame and they used it as a tool and a fuel to make money. I don't know. Those are my thoughts on that, guys. Thank you so much. If you enjoyed the video, hit that thumbs up. Please make sure you follow me on social media at JD from NY206 on both Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. Go check out all the other videos if you missed them, man. Links are in the eye. That little annotation that you see in the top right corner of your screen. Please go and check out and support all the videos this week on the channel. And I will see you guys hopefully on Sunday with more news and rumors right here on Off the Script. Again, hit that thumbs up. Thank you so much for all of you supporting me. And I will see you hopefully on Sunday with more news and rumors right here on Off the Script. Until then, guys, thank you so much. Have a great Saturday, and I'll talk to you later.